Hi guys, today we're going to be building a joyous space with Niki de Saint Phalle. Recently, she has been highlighted by the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. Short, it's called MoMA. I am a 21-year arts educator. I work in Arlington Public Schools in Northern Virginia. I use a choice-based arts setting in my classroom. I am National Board Certified. I am a special ed teacher by training. You can find me online at Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, my education blog, and on YouTube. Niki de Saint Phalle lived in the United States and in France. She envisioned new ways of inhabiting the world. These are just some examples of her work. When we talk about inhabiting the world, we talk about a new kind of way of being in a space or taking up space. Imagine being inside this room. Imagine sitting on this elephant's trunk. Definitely something new. Her art practice included the following. She did architectural projects, sculpture gardens. She wrote books. She made prints, films, theater sets. She designed clothing, jewelry, and even her own perfume. This is what is called an interdisciplinary artist. I included a web here just to remind you the definition of interdisciplinary. It just means that she was able to combine several disciplines in her art. She also created artworks that used assemblage and performative modes of production. Let's find out what these words really mean. First of all, performative. Performative has the word perform in it. Performative just means that part of the art is some kind of performance. In this case, I'm sure in a million years you would have never guessed what that meant in her case. In her case, that meant she was shooting at her canvases. Long story short, she would fill these balloons with paint with different colors. Then she would shoot at them from far away. The balloons will pop and release all the different colors. On the bottom right, you see an example of one of such works. This is what you call performative art. Here is a close-up of that artwork. Assemblage. What does that mean? Sometimes you can find out the definition of words by looking at parts of them. Let's look at the first part of this word. The first part of this word sounds like assemble. Assemble is an easy word. It means put or bring things together. She also did some assemblage art where she would use pieces of broken toys and other plastic figurines and would put them all together to create her art. Here is such an example. She also created large-scale sculptures. Large scale is just a fancy phrase for something enormous. She also did architectural projects. These are such examples. Her work also included sculpture gardens. These large ladies with fun and bright bathing suits dancing freely were called nanas. A lot of her work focused on utopian sculpture environments. Again, a word we might not know what it means. Let's find out what utopian means. Utopian is a state in which everything is perfect. She was very busy trying to create different places where she would think would be perfect to be in. Here is another example of another utopian space or utopian architecture that she created. Lots of her work included fantastical houses, park, and playgrounds. Here is such an example. Imagine coming down that red tongue. Imagine going up these cool blue steps. I forgot that I didn't define for you what fantastical meant. Fantastical in this case means imaginative. Here are other examples of fantastical houses, parks, and playgrounds. And more. Now, I think it's important to understand that later in her life, a lot of her work was focused on creating joyful sculptures. She wanted to make art for everyday life. She was very interested in having children come and enjoy her artwork. She also wanted them to be inspired to become artists. That was a very important message. She was quoted as saying, for where you could have a new kind of life, to just be free. Surely, when you're playing in these playgrounds, you must feel free. I would. Now, this is where our project comes in. We're going to be making a space where we can be free and experience joy.
Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to build a large-scale sculpture in our own homes, no matter how big our home is. We are going to make a model. A model is just an example of what our large-scale sculpture would look like if we can make it enormous. So we're actually going to make something pretty small that fits on a table, and it is going to represent a space that could potentially be a park or an outdoor sculpture garden or a playground. All right?
You are going to need a sketchbook and something to write with. These are some of the materials you are going to need, and it might take a couple of days to collect them. You're going to need an empty cereal box, some toilet paper tubes or some paper towel tubes, masking tape, glue, scissors. If you don't have a cereal boxes, pasta boxes will be fine too. And markers or some other coloring materials will help. So let's get started. Let's look at the agenda. So an agenda is just an order of what you do, and you must do them in that order for the assignment to be complete. So the first thing we're going to do is use our sketchbook to draw a plan. We are going to create a fun space where we can be free and joyful. So we're going to draw a plan, what the space might look like. Think anything is possible. Think about the things you love. What would make a space joyful and allow you to feel free? Next, you're going to collect your materials in a bag or a box. Next, you're going to find a space where you can create, and make sure that if you're going to be using glue, to put some paper underneath so that the table stays clean. Next, you're going to add colors and details. Think of a title for your work. And I would love for you to share online. When you do share online on social media, either on Instagram or Twitter, make sure to add the hashtags #CutelisArt so that I will get to see your work too. So I hope you have fun creating a space where you can be free and where you can experience joy, just like the artist. I hope you had fun meeting Niki de Saint Phalle. And remember, if you make something today, share it on social media and hashtag it #CutelisArt. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video.